Am I the asshole for telling my wife we can adopt her nephews but not her niece? My wife's sister was recently found guilty of dealing to support her habit. She will be sentenced this week and is looking toward a long term because this is not her first time caught dealing. She has 3 children, 2 boys, 4 and 5, and a girl, 14. No one on her family's side wants to or are in a position to take the children except for me and my wife. However, I'm demanding 2 conditions. If we're going to take the children in, I want us to adopt them. I don't want 50 people looking over our shoulders trying to tell us what to do. If we're going to be legal responsible for them, I want to be able to parent them as we see fit. The second condition is that I'm willing to take the 2 boys but not the girl. The 2 boys have not had any rules in their lives and are terrors, but they're still young and can be taught right from wrong. The girl has gone past the point of no return. She's been suspended from school several times for things like fighting and smoking illegal substances on school grounds. She once dated a 22-year-old with her mom's approval and they all lived in the same apartment. That didn't last long and now she's dating an 18-year-old who is a gang member. He was arrested when he was 14 on a home invasion charge but was released because it was his first time arrested and his age. This is a mess and we've been arguing about it for an entire week. I don't want to risk our financial and personal security, but my wife argued that we can't just throw her away. At this point we're not even sleeping in the same bed, but I'm not willing to open our house up to the girl and her lifestyle. Update. I left out a lot of info because I was in shock and still am. We're both in our late 20s, have been married for a little over 2 years, have no kids, and I just graduated with my advanced degree last year. Last month we were talking about maybe having kids when we're in our mid-30s and about where we want to go on our Christmas vacation. Last week my wife came home, sat me down, and told me we're taking in 3 kids. I know nothing about adoption laws, CPS, or anything related to raising children, much less troubled children. I knew what was going on with her sister and was told my wife's parents were going to take the kids in. Apparently they decided they are too old to take care of 3 kids. Of everyone in her family, we are the most financially secure and have a house, so when everyone backed out, she volunteered without asking me. That was the crux of our argument until I realized that it was happening with or without my agreement. That's when I told her we can take the boys but not the girl, which started another round of arguments. I've never raised any kids, so no, I can't deal with the baggage that the girl will bring into our lives. I can't begin to tell you all how shocking the whole thing is. Sometimes I feel like I'm outside watching my life spin out of control. Top comment.
As a social worker for CPS, you are not the asshole. But you need to tread carefully, because your demands may not line up with reality. 4 and 5-year-olds raised in a chaotic and traumatizing environment will absolutely have some behavioral problems, which you are relating to running wild. That may not be as easy to fix. They will need extensive therapy. Whether you adopt them or not will not be up to you. You can ask it, but you won't be able to demand it nor expect it. It will be the choice of a judge, based on how much or little the parents comply with CPS requirements, how long the prison term is, etc. I would expect that you will be fostering the kids for a minimum of 12 months before you are allowed to start adoption procedures, depending on where you live. And yes, the courts and social workers will be up your ass during that time. And 6 months after the adoption takes place. You need to think about that as a reality before commuting to these kids. Signing adoption papers as soon as they come to your home will not be an option, unless both parents agree, clear it with a judge, lawyers, psych evils, etc. It just won't happen that way. Where I disagree with most Redditors though is about taking in the 14-year-old being inappropriate. If you do not feel you can care for her, you shouldn't. But that shouldn't stop you from being a resource for the 2 kids that you are capable of protecting. I've been a long-term foster parent for children of friends and family. And I've done short-term foster care for kids in my office. Anywhere from newborn to 17. A 14-year-old with gang affiliation, substance use, major trauma and behavioral concerns is not something most people with good intentions are equipped for. You can't just love and therapy all of those issues away. This kid sounds like she needs a higher level of care than you are equipped for. So you aren't wrong for recognizing that you can't give her what she needs. She needs an experienced parent with trauma-informed skills, and a ton of one-on-one attention. You aren't an AH for having this boundary, and understanding your limitations. And any social worker would tell you that. But do be prepared that taking the boys will not be as easy as you imagine. And you will not be able to demand adoption. If you take them, it will be a trial run. Heavily supervised. And maybe adoption happens later. Reconsider your plans based on that knowledge, and decide if you are still willing. And, call your social worker. You may not be interested at all once you see what the plan will look like.
Final update. It's been a while and I decided to update since I saw some people are still reading my post and asking about my situation. I ended up leaving the house and talking to an attorney. Originally I just wanted to insulate myself and my assets from any damages that might be caused. However, after talking to her about our state laws and talking to my family, I moved out and filed for divorce. I still love my ex and knew she will be financially strapped taking care of 3 kids, so I signed the house over to her so at least she'll always have a roof over her head. I don't know the exact details, but the following is what I heard through friends. My ex got temporary guardianship of the kids. She moved the kids in and registered them at the local schools. The niece was suspended several times. My ex and her niece got into some heated argument about her skipping school and letting boys into the house while the ex was at work. The niece and her friends cleaned the house of all valuables one day while my ex was at work and they left. No one knows where she's at. Her family thinks I'm the devil and things would have gone much smoother if I stayed and helped her. Apparently her father and male cousins will rip my head off if we ever run into each other. That's one of the main reasons why I ultimately left. With 3 kids in the house, I figured my chance of having our children went down to 0. I know it'll sound selfish, but I want my own children.